Welcome back to the channel. I'm Crypto Trend Trader, and I just wanted to take a quick look at Bitcoin on the weekly. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade at your own risk. So here we have Bitcoin on Kraken chart, and this is the weekly time frame. And basically, I was just looking for how we had interacted in the past in situations like this. Basically, the $20,000 rally here on the weekly. When we came down, we initially came down. We touched that 21, broke through that, made it down to the 50, and then we got a strong bounce off that 50. And if you look at how that lines up, we actually came all the way back up to the 21 and the 10, closed above the 10, but never opened and closed above it. And that's when we sold back off. So now here we are down at the 50 over here, and I'm thinking this is starting to look kind of familiar here. We found the support. We expect to get now a reaction at least back up to test this crossover here. So I think it's realistic to think that we might get a reaction rally up to like the 9,300 range. Now switching over to the daily here, again, if we just scroll out and we look at, basically I'm going to look at right here where the 50 crosses over the 89. The 50 crosses the 89, we come down, we base off the 377, we double bottom, and then we start bouncing up. Okay, let's go over here now. So we come down here to the 377, we come back up, and what are we doing? It's the cross. It's the cross of the 89 and the 50 here, the purple 89 and the green 50. We come all the way back up off that 377. Bust through both 200 moving averages, over the 10, over the 21, and actually make it over all the moving averages before we try one more time, and then we sell back off. So let's go back over here now. So if you look now, we would be coming back here. We're under the 377. We just flipped the parabolic SAR on the daily to green. So now we come up, we bust through the 200 simple, we bounce around over the 10 and the 200 exponential, make it through the 21, come all the way back up here through the 50 and the 89 to like the $9,800 range even. We could bounce all the way back up to $9,800 range, put in another lower high, and then sell back off. And I mean, I don't base everything on patterns and stuff like that, but a lot of times these algorithms, these bots, the way that these crosses are traded, you see the same type of reaction. So what you're looking for is something similar in the past that's happened right up until it doesn't, and then you say, okay, I can't use that anymore. So with something like Bitcoin where you don't have a ton of information, you look back at the last time this happened, and let's see if we can find a similarity. So look again, when it came down here to that 20 or to the 377, we got that parabolic SAR moving up. We took that out, and we got a continued trend. And I think realistically here, if you look at the last 3 times, this parabolic SAR triggered. One time it was pretty close to the top. This time you got decent amount of continuation. This time again it was pretty close to the top. So because of the drop off here, I guess statistically, I mean, it could be that was the bounce and then it sells back off here. And you would be buying into the 200 moving average, but regardless, putting all bias aside, I would not put that past the market. I wouldn't put it past the market to see this come all the way back up to 98, 99, even 10,000, and then sell back off. So I just want to touch base. I mean, I'm not going to get too far into it. I just was looking at the chart here with a fresh non-biased eye, and I was looking at my indicators, and my indicators are reliable. I use these all the time. This one is the Stokes slope. We got the buy signal. It's crossing over blue. I'm sorry. We got the parabolic SAR turning green here. We've got the TD MACD with the upward trend on the parabolic, or on the we've got the upward trend basically in green here, but not only that, we also have the green bars on the histogram too. So that's starting to move back up. And then finally, on the Fisher, we have it moving up now. The slope is moving back upwards. So that's 4 main indicators all signaling that we could be moving to the upside on like the daily time frame. And then when you switch back to the weekly here, Again, we're in a downtrend, but a lot of times you'll see a reaction bounce right off this blue. When you're coming down to the blue and you've been selling off, you see that bounce right there, and that lines up with the weekly right on this 50. And again, if we look back over here, we were coming down, and when we hit the bottom right here is right as we were getting to that blue on the TD MACD. Right as we were getting to that blue line, we saw this big powerful rally up here, and it took us all the way back up above the 10 moving average. So again, it would not surprise me to see a bounce up here in the 10,000, anywhere from like 96, 98 up to like 10.3, 10.4. I mean, I don't want to get too crazy, but it could come as high as 10.5 if it wanted to. It just depends how much momentum it picks up. And again, if you look down here at the Fisher, we got the crossover to the red, and right after it crossed over the red, one tick after it crossed red, we got the bounce. And here we are, one tick after it crosses red, and we're getting the bounce. So it's not unrealistic to think we could get a powerful weekly candle up here with like another 10% plus in gains. So I'm keeping my eye on it. It's right around the area when these things start to reverse. I'm not saying jump right in on a reversal trade, but I wouldn't exactly be shorting right here either. I mean, but the fact of the matter is a great spot to enter a trade regardless, because, and this is not financial advice, but it's easy to play right off this. You're playing right off the 10 and the 200 moving averages. So you don't have to wait but a couple percent to realize if you're right or wrong in a direction. I mean, if this starts selling off here, you're right, and if it busts straight through here, you're wrong. Or vice versa if you're betting upside or downside. But anyway, I just want to touch base. I was just looking at it with a non-biased eye. I tried to just glance at it, and although I do think we're going to get continuation to the downside, this looks like a good spot, not necessarily for a reversal, but for a nice solid reaction rally. We already got a decent bit of a move right here, consolidated and showed some strength, and now we're consolidating at the moving averages. A lot of times when you consolidate at them for a while, you break them. So I don't think it's unrealistic to think we might pop right up here, and the indicators are saying the same thing. So I wouldn't put it past the market. Let's see how it plays out, and we'll take some trades with the trend here when we see a good entry. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. That's Bitcoin, Kraken on the longer time frames, and I'm Crypto Trend Trader signing off.